Hello, this is Sierra and welcome to another video. Today we are doing another chapter of book 4 of Clockwork Chronicles, also known as The Final Obstacle. We are doing chapter 10. Continuing where we left off in chapter 9. Now let's get to it. If you guys have any thoughts, questions, or concerns about the story so far, or theories about what might happen next, feel free to let me know. But yeah. You know it's true. Chapter 10. If you haven't read the other chapters, be sure you do so. Spoilers. Steppy woke up with a start, with the sound of the cell door slamming open as he looked up to see the men looking down at him. 3 men looking down at him, each of them wearing their uniforms that the cat knew far too well. Each of the men's expressions were cold and hard. The cat watched as one of them came towards him. The other 2 stood by the door, as if guarding it to make sure he didn't try to escape. Each of the men had big, broad shoulders, with visible muscles. They were obviously far stronger than him, and could easily overwhelm him if he tried anything. "What's going on?" the cat asked. "You don't need to know," one of the men snapped, as the man detached the chains from the cat's cuffs before binding them together behind the cat's back. It was very uncomfortable, and the metal bit into its wrists tightly as the man secured his bonds. "Get to your feet, we're going," the man next to him grunted as he pulled the cat to his feet, beginning to drag him towards the door. "Where to? Why now?" the cat asked, struggling fruitlessly as he did so. But he knew that he wasn't going anywhere, that these men weren't, at least for the time being. "Your new prison guards," the first guard grunted, when one of them stifled back a snort of laughter. Wow, I almost thought of. "But why?" the cat asked, only to get himself smacked in the side of the head. The cat let out a sigh, giving up on asking these men questions. They obviously wouldn't give him anything useful or concrete. The cat walked at a relatively faster pace than he used to, speaking that he hadn't been allowed to walk very much than he was used to. Speaking that he hadn't been allowed to walk very much due to his restraints. But he didn't argue, as he let the men push him, ignoring the snarky comments from the other men saying that he was too slow and he should go faster. It sounded as if they were on a strict time limit. But why? As the cat continued down a dark and long hallway, he could start to hear voices coming from a nearby room. Voices were loud and firm, an increase of tension coming from his guards. Something wasn't measuring up. The cat listened intently. "Why didn't you go through the designated location? You'll lead them right to us," a voice demanded angrily. "Couldn't risk getting caught. There was a reason this took so long," another voice bellowed angrily, his tone annoyed and irritated. "Well, maybe it would have been better if you hadn't brought him to where we were keeping the cat," a third voice intercepted. "This could go so wrong so fast." "Nothing will go wrong so long as we make the exchange quickly and hide our tracks," the familiar voice of Mr. A replied calmly, the only voice that wasn't bellowing at the top of their lungs. "Where is he anyway? He's taking too long," another voice whined. "You hear that, cat? You're taking too long. Go faster." One of the men taunted him. "Leave him be," the man holding him snapped angrily. "It's not his fault his allies messed things up." "Allies? Was he referring to the cause? Why would anyone from the cause ever agree to deal with Mr. A? What sort of thing would they want?" Then they hit him. "Mr. A was trying to get his brother back. He must have convinced some of the people who still believed he was a traitor to bring RJ, so they could have him. It made sense. The cause wanted him dead. And now they were going to get it. Help didn't come soon. The cat was pushed around a corner as a light blazed into his eyes. The cat looked away, closing his eyes from the brightness. There you are, Stampy, Mr. A's voice said tearfully. The cat's eyes finally adjusted to the change of lighting. For being locked in a dark cell, this was the most light he'd seen in, well, quite some time. We were expecting you. The cat finally opened his eyes, daring to look at what was before him. He blinked several times. He looked at the relatively large big room. There was a portal in the back wall. It's about 3 to 5 men standing there. Amongst their group was RJ, free and smiling at him, the coolest expression of glee he had ever seen. Mr. A stood with a few other men by the entrance of the room, waiting for something. Now, I believe we have finally made our exchange, the man said defiantly, as a gesture for the men holding Stampede to come forward. My brother for your traitor, to do as you please. But I'm not, the cat insisted, getting slapped in the head. Very well, the coordinates are ready, the man on the other side said. Send them forward or we'll send RJ over. They will pass by each other. As you wish, Mr. A nodded, as the man holding the cat pushed him forward. The cat stumbled slightly as he tried to gain his footing before walking reluctantly to the men. Probably would kill him. He walked slowly and carefully, RJ meeting up with him in the middle. Would you like me to help you across? RJ offered with a smile. I'm fine. No thanks to you and your brother, the cat said bitterly. Man, I'll be sure to let your sister know. You said hello whenever I see her again. The cat narrowed his eyes distastefully. Stay away from her. And who's going to stop me, you? The man coughed as he walked on. You'll be dead long before you'll ever get a chance to see her again, to warn her. Chills crept down the cat's spine as he shuddered, watching as the man made his way. The man made his way to stand by his brother. He was much taller and leaner. His facial features were more hollowed out, sharper compared to Mr. A. Come on, traitor. We don't have time to do this. We don't have the time to do this. A man growled from in front of him. His hands grabbed him, dragged him towards the portal. Camage, one look back at the two brothers were now reunited. Fear filled him. He wondered what they would do first, since they were finally rid of him. Would these people he thought he could trust going to give him a quick death, or a long, gruesome, painful one? He wasn't sure he wanted to know, but he would soon, whether he liked it or not. Stampy found himself inside a dark room, walls surrounding him on every side. It was a small room. The cat was able to feel the side walls of both shoulders. His eyes tried to adjust to the dim light. He struggled to understand where he was and how he'd gotten into this situation in the first place. He was alone in this tiny room, being closed off and distant from reality. His memory was slowly returning to him, as he had remembered being dragged into the woods after the men had come through the portal. They hadn't gone far before they had come up to his shed, with a few gardening supplies. It looked dusty, hardly used. Someone had definitely taken care of it in the last 6 months. Cat hadn't been sure why he'd been brought here, till one of the men mentioned that it was a good place to hide until nighttime. No doubt they couldn't risk hurting him then and there. Or they could have gotten caught. But by whom? The woods were went on for miles on every side. Who else could possibly be worth hiding him in a hidden storage compartment under the cupboards? He struggled immensely against his restraints, which was now starting to get awfully painful. The metal was cutting into his wrists, causing trickles of blood to emit from them. It was too tight. All of this was too close in. He felt isolated and scared, closed off, suffocated. He wanted out. He wanted to smell the fresh air, not the moldy gag in his mouth, partially covering his nose, so that he was forced to smell the stinky, long overdue stench. It was horrible. Oh, it was horrible. Stampy wanted to cry out, to scream for help, but he knew that his cries would only be muffled, silent and fading, just like he was if help didn't come soon. Tears filled in the cat's eyes as he thought of never getting out of this hidden compartment. Alone scared him. He felt stifled, snuffed of all fresh, clean air, his vision getting blurry as he tried to take a breath. Was he really gonna die in here? Did the men want that to happen? Had it been a ruse to make him panic and die quicker? Cat whimpered as he felt more tears fell, thinking of his friends, his home, everything and everyone he would never get to see again. New friends and old ones. He would be lost and forgotten. Good as dead. Nothing more than a memory. A memory that no one wanted. He couldn't help himself as all hope fled away from him, his cries turning into soft sobs. He felt helpless, scared, and frightened. There was nowhere to go, no place to hide. He couldn't bring himself to hold on to that glimmer of hope. His thoughts were fading. He was fading. And then suddenly he heard it. At first, it didn't sound like much. He heard it again. Voices? Had someone come after all? Or had the men come back to collect him? To finish him off once and for all? Cat cried out as loud as he could, struggling to make himself heard over the gag. Cried louder and louder, feeling the air around him grow stale as he started to cough, struggling to breathe as he screamed through the gag. Was it choking him? Was he really going to suffocate down here? He coughed again, struggling as he tried to kick his feet against the wall. Cramped space seeming to close in around him more. Was he panicking? Was this the end? He didn't know. All he could hear was his cries for help, which felt like they were echoing off the walls. His heart was pounding rapidly. His chest as he tried desperately to get a gulp of fresh air. But all he got was old, musty, dry air that was stifling and choking. Help! He cried helplessly as his voice cracked, feeling dry and hard as his voice almost cut out due to his screaming and crying for help. His voice had stopped a while ago. He was almost afraid he had scared them off. No, he wasn't almost afraid. He was terrified. He was sure they had mistaken him for some sort of ghost and ran off to leave him for dead, not even knowing that he had been struggling under their feet. Please, help me, it croaked again. His cries still muffled. He coughed harder, feeling more and more lightheaded as the remainder of whatever oxygen left disappeared, leaving him with nothing. He choked stale air. He could feel his body wrenching, sobs. He shook, sure what else to do. Feeling too weak to bang his legs on that wall, too weak to even lift his head. Was he truly fading? Is that what he could say? Suddenly, Stampy could hear something above him, as if someone was trying to pull something back. Was he moving the cupboard? He remembered the men had done so before and after sticking him down here. Someone was still here. Someone had heard him. A dark thought crept to his mind, sent a shudder through him. He shook from exhaustion. What if this wasn't help? One of the men coming to shut him up? Or they had come to finally collect him, finish him off? What if he had given them a reason to silence him before anyone could ever help him? But his fears were soon dashed as he heard a click. As the trap door opened, letting fresh air into the small compartment. His light poured into his eyes. Cap blinked as he gulped in air to try to see who had opened the compartment. He finally could look up, see his surprised face looking down at him. Face he didn't recognize, but knew weren't the men that he had feared had finally come to kill him. Sobs of fear turned to cries of happiness. More tears fell from his face. Help had finally come for him. His calls for help had not been in vain. Maybe he could get out of this mess after all. Anyway, we're going to end that chapter here. And yep, I hope you guys enjoyed. Yep. I'm going to end it here. It's not the end though. But that's definitely good news. Of course, I'm not saying who it is yet. You'll find out in chapter 12. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.